Labour is expected to support any Tory rebel amendment, with Jeremy Corbyn expected to confirm that Labour will support a Tory rebel amendment to keep Britain in the EU customs union. The Prime Minister is preparing to say in a speech on Friday that she is determined to allow Britain to be free to chart its own destiny. Labour's shadow Brexit Secretary Sir Keir Starmer described Tory MP Anna Soubry's amendment to the trade bill as crunch time for the government and claimed there is now a majority in Parliament to effectively overturn the referendum. It comes amid speculation that Mr Corbyn is being bounced into supporting staying in the customs union. A speech he will give on Monday admits that leaving does not inevitably spell doom for our country. A source close to Mrs May said they do not wish the customs union amendment to be a confidence vote because they do not want Labour Brexiteers like Kate Hoey and Frank Field to be put under pressure to vote the government down. I would say to my colleagues that Theresa May has kept a broad range of views on the European issue for a reason. Liam Fox, however. It was also made clear that Mrs May is determined that Britain should be completely in control of its own trade policy and not have it set by the EU, which is what would happen in a customs union. Meanwhile, Liam Fox has urged Tory Remainers to keep an open mind after they threatened to rebel over the approach to membership of a customs union. The International Trade Secretary suggested the Brexit War Cabinet on Thursday has agreed proposals that would deal with the fears. Mr Fox told BBC once, "The Andrew Marr Show, I would say to my colleagues that Theresa May has kept a broad range of views on the European issue for a reason. We sat down with those differing views, we set out the issues, we looked at the options and we came to an agreement that we are all happy with." Labour's shadow Brexit Secretary Sir Keir Starmer described Anna Soubry's amendment as crunch time. He added, "I hope that they will have an open mind and listen to what the Prime Minister says, because I think that what the Prime Minister will set out will deal with a lot of the reservations that they have." The meeting at Chequers agreed on a policy of ambitious managed divergence from the Europe, which means the UK will not be bound by Brussels regulations once a transition period is over by the end of 2020. Meanwhile, there is speculation that Remainers in Labour, who want to ignore the majority view of British voters, are trying to push Mr Corbyn into staying in the customs union and the single market, which would hand control over trade and immigration to Brussels. Last week, Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornberry, a strong Remainer, announced support for staying in a customs union, and this was confirmed by another leading Remainer, Sir Keir, today. The shadow Brexit secretary said Britain was more likely to strike new deals if it works jointly with the EU, adding, "We all want to do bold new trade agreements, but we would be better off doing that with the EU." However, the trail of Mr Corbyn's speech had no reference to supporting staying in the customs union. Instead, he admitted that the EU is not the source of all enlightenment, and leaving it does not inevitably spell doom for our country. He will add, "There will be some who will tell you that Brexit is a disaster for this country, and some who will tell you that Brexit will create a land of milk and honey. The truth is more down to earth, and it's in our hands. Brexit is what we make of it together." Thursday, December 14, 2017. Theresa May's Tory Brexit rebels. The Labour leader will attempt to spell out his Brexit policy as 80 parliamentarians led by former leader Lord Kinnock, who has a EU commissioner pension, demand he also supports staying in the single market and allow Brussels to control British immigration. Over the weekend, Labour veteran MP Frank Field reminded Mr Corbyn that the two had consistently voted against the EU throughout their careers and warned him not to fall into the Remainers' trap. Mr Field, who backed Leave, said remaining in a customs union of a single market would be a deceit, and dismissed suggestions that Ms Soubry could defeat the government. "The idea Anna Soubry is going to lead all these people into the Labour lobby is just fairy tales. But we will see on the night. The government will win comfortably in double figures," he told BBC One's Sunday Politics. There was also a warning that Nicola Sturgeon could try to stop free trade deals with a veto in the Scottish Parliament if devolution of powers from Brussels are not handled properly. In a speech in Wales on Monday. Cabinet Secretary David Lidington will outline the importance of protecting the UK single market. He will say the government will protect that vital common market of the UK, and by retaining UK frameworks, where necessarily we retain our ability not only to act in the national interest when we need to, but to do so with a unity of purpose that places the prosperity and security of all of our citizens, no matter where they are from or where they were born, to the fore.